Hey everyone, welcome to the Not a Lonely Coffee Break podcast. We are your host. I'm Maddie.
And I'm Meaghan. We're a podcast about coffee and work, but make it queer.
So Meaghan and I, we're actually really terrible at keeping secrets, but we have been sitting on a pretty big one for a hot minute now.
Yeah, I am a terrible liar. But we have dropped a few teeny tiny hints along the way.
But not enough. If there's one thing we love, it's a good theme and a chance to do something meaningful with it. Y'all know that about us. So for Mental Health Awareness Month, we decided to put something together that was really special.
And by special, we mean get tattoos!
We got tattoos.
And not only did we get tattoos, we organized a collaboration.
We partnered with our friends at TrueSelf Inc. for a special Mental Health Awareness Month flash sheet collaboration. And y'all, let me just say, these designs, they are so good. It was really hard for Meaghan and I to choose from. There were so many great options that we were like, what do we get?
I know, seriously. You know, Maddie and I both struggled to pick a design. We were like, I was going back and forth, just really trying to find something that I could connect to. Thinking about healing, identity, mental health wellness, authenticity. These were all the things we like to talk about here all the time. So it would rent a lot.
Once I got home the other day after our little session, I knew I wasn't done. So I'm probably going to go back to get at least one more.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely I am. I know I am. I purposefully didn't get one that day because I knew I was going to come back. So.
You know, Meaghan and I love to highlight resources in the community and build community through this show. And so I think what really makes this meaningful is that a portion of the proceeds from this collaboration are actually going to benefit Hope Store New Beginning Center. They're an organization that's doing incredible work for individuals and families that have been impacted by domestic violence.
Yeah, and what we really love about that connection is that their work not only is about immediate safety, it's also about healing. They've got counseling, support groups, prevention work, rebuilding, all the pieces that people move forward from that trauma.
Yeah, it's just they're a perfect organization, I think, to join us in this collaboration. So, because, tattoos hold such powerful meanings for people. I know me, I got one even to represent my healing journey. It was really important to me too, that it showed the healing side of my journey, not the messy side of that journey. It just felt like a really natural fit for Mental Health Awareness Month and just for what this show is all about, which is healing, growth, building community, all of the things we love.
Yeah. And we want y'all to get excited. So let's officially kick this off. Today, we're joined by two incredible artists who are part of this collaboration, Byanka and Carly from TrueSelf Inc.
Hey, welcome. Yay. We're so excited to chat with you guys today. We have been planning this special episode and collaboration. It feels like a lot longer than we actually have, but we're finally here and we're really excited. Can you guys introduce yourself and maybe share a little bit about what drew you both to tattooing?
Sure, I'll start it off. So my name's Byanka. I am the owner of TrueSelf Inc., a fine line tattoo studio located in Plano, Texas. I actually got into tattooing because I was going through some health issues back in my late 30s. I was about to turn 40 and I was losing sight of having fun in life. And so essentially the health battles helped me kind of reconnect with the things that brought me joy. And I remembered when I was a teenager and I was in middle school, high school, I loved, drawing and art and all that. And I remember wanting to be a tattoo artist. So being a woman tattoo artist or being a tattoo artist in general at the time was very taboo. So Obviously, that was not in the cards for me then, but luckily enough now, because of technology and how we share information, now we are able to access a lot of information when it comes to these types of skills. And so I joined a training on fine line tattoos and tiny tattoos. And that's how I got here. That was about almost 2 years ago. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm Carly. I also like to go by Bone Hard. I've been getting tattoos since like I was 18, like right out the gate, just immediately going to get tattoos. So I've been getting them for a long time. I started reading tarot, and eventually I found Byanka because I was like looking also for like tattoo artists because I knew I wanted more tattoos. I was just like, I want more tattoos, and like tarot's gonna get me there. And like lo and behold, it ended up we traded services for a tarot reading for a tattoo. And I kind of just like never left Bianca alone after that point. I really have just joined the mission completely wholeheartedly.
It was like, I am sticking with you. I don't care what you say. You're
I
stuck
like
with
what you've got
me.
going on here.
But funny enough, the tarot that Carly gave me during that trade was the affirmation I needed to find my own private studio. So
I love
it was like
that.
meant to be, because like I was struggling with the fact that it was like the studio that I was at, like my contract was coming up to like renew, and I was like, I don't know if I should be here. I don't know if I should do my own thing. I knew once I started it that like I wanted to build a space where people felt comfortable enough to be themselves and not have to filter themselves, and not feel judged. And so yeah, I was just kind of like, should I continue another year kind of building up clientele, or should I just take the leap? Yeah, like Carly's tarot reading kind of affirmed the decision.
And
I
that's really
love
the use of
that.
the tool for sure.
Yeah.
You were like, yes.
Yeah.
No, I
Yeah.
love that. And
Yeah.
that
Score.
also answered sort of my next question, which was sort of what brought you to the studio that you own, Bianca, of TrueSelf Inc. and what does that mean to you? And you answered it for us, but
Yeah.
I guess Carly, what does TrueSelf Inc. being part of that studio mean to you?
So
Oh.
I'm really motivated by service and community. I think these things like really fulfill me. I've had a lot of jobs in life and I've worked for lots of different companies, even companies that claim things like conscious capitalism. It's just not true. So this is an exercise in like, this is what modeling for society. What we want to see. Sure, we have to live within the bounds and the limits of society, but like we're still here like pushing the boundaries and coming up to the limits where we can.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense because a lot of people I think in the last episode, we talked about being trapped in a job or like feeling trapped,
Yeah.
and how that affects your mental health. And
Oh my God. Yeah.
no, like y'all taking charge of how you make money, then because they're always talking like this is how you take charge to spend your money. Like, no, y'all are taking charge on how y'all make money. Like that's so powerful. That's super
Yeah.
cool. So like what it's in the name, True Self Inc. What are some things that y'all do to create an inclusive space? And
So for me, inclusivity is showing up as myself, like actually, like not filtering myself, not because I've done that for so long, being open and honest and being vulnerable. That's top of mind always, because I've been in environments where I had to filter myself because I've come off too strong, too aggressive, too direct, too blunt, like all this, like too much. And so that's the first thing to me
Right.
to make sure that it's inclusive. Second is always making sure that I'm learning how to provide a space for pretty much everybody's needs, right? So when it comes to like people that have different abilities, different needs, or what have you, I want to make sure I'm able to provide that. So if y'all have all discovered the neatos around the studio. We provide fidget toys, ouchies, that sort of thing for our neurodivergent clients. And not oddly enough, we do have a lot of neurodivergent clients, probably because
we're making
Carly,
ourselves available to them.
yeah, Carly definitely. I mean, Carly is neurodivergent. I'm not diagnosed, but I feel like I am. And then it's just one of those things that I feel like we do a good job at providing that environment for people.
Yeah.
No, speaking as a customer, also just inclusivity can mean a whole wide range of things, but Byanka, I mean, Carly has this vibe as well, but Carly has not given me a tattoo yet. But I know even inclusivity of first timers, people who have never gotten a tattoo before. It was because I got my first tattoo with Byanka, and it was just so safe for acknowledging hey, this is nervous, that you're getting this done for the first time, but it's okay. And before she did anything, she was telling me, this is what I'm gonna do next. This is what the needle looks like. Do you want to see it? Do you not want to see it? Do you want to watch? Do you not want to watch? And I felt like it was a really great way to acknowledge my anxiousness about getting something permanently on my body that was brand new to me. I don't know, it felt, as someone who has anxiety, I just felt really seen in my anxiousness, because you didn't have to do all of that. You could have just been do you want this or not?
Yeah. And I think that's the general perspective, or the general consensus of when you go to a tattoo studio, is the fact that you're here to get a service. And at least for me, my first time was you're here to get a service. I don't care if you're nervous. We're going to go ahead and get it done. And so I was 18 also when I got it. I got a tramp stamp, millennial here. So yeah, I got it from a dude, and I
Oh my
was
God, yeah.
a nervous wreck. And so I think the experiences that I had, I mean, at this point, I had only had the one, and then my second tattoo, I remember very clearly too, was from a dude, and so it was the same thing. So I think that's the reason why I am very, very adamant about being hey, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do before I do it, because one, consent. I'm not going to touch your body before I do anything, right? And then I want you to know what I'm doing, because I don't want you to be startled, or I feel like your body will remember the experience more than the actual tattoo itself. I don't remember what happened during the tattoo, my first tattoo. I just remember the feeling of how I felt with the interaction with the tattoo artist. So after all these years, I was 18. I'm 42 now. Come on, that's a long ass time ago. It's so crystal clear.
Meaghan and I like to nerd out sometimes. And Byanka, you just described what trauma is.
Yeah.
That's right. So people can have traumatic experiences with getting tattoos, and they're going to remember that experience more than whatever they got on their body. They're going to remember how they were treated, the level of pain that they had. They're going to remember all of that. And that's trauma. That's how that works. And that's going to impact how they receive that experience in the future, if they even want to get one in the future.
I mean, it's true, right? What Maddie said, how we experience things, they can last longer. They live longer in our bodies, in our minds, and how we do that. And getting tattoos is supposed to be an empowering experience. You're taking charge of your body and what you're putting on your body. A lot of people, they describe getting tattoos as being connected with healing and grief, survival. Is that something you see often in your work?
Yeah, I mean, all the things.
You're every day.
I mean, not every day, but it's mostly. That's what it. Tattooing has become this thing where it's you said, it's empowering. or it's healing where you once hated your body and now you are decorating it because you are building a relationship with it. If you
Beautifully
lost
said.
somebody, like if you lost somebody, it's a way to honor somebody. And I love that about tattooing. It's not just like it gets a really bad stigma, but like it's not just wanting to get like these silly little tattoos. Well, sometimes it is. Sometimes it is.
There's room for the
let's
silly little
let's
tattoos.
just say I have a croissant on my arm, so like yes, but it is like a lot of it is very meaningful, right?
Carly, what about you?
Yeah. So I think a lot about how we're like in a time right now of like a lack of bodily autonomy. We're in a deficit of bodily autonomy, and I just think this is good for people to retain some choice about what's going on, like you said, with their body and to their body and on their body. And also there's something to be said for the fact that you are reassociating maybe discomfort and pain with something that is a choice that you've made, like, so we're talking about like empowering ourselves to like take back, the definition of what hurt my body hurting means, like from like a wiring standpoint. Yeah. Like I think there's some probably got to be some truth to that.
Yeah,
No,
absolutely.
there
I like
is.
that.
No, I love it too. That's all.
Yeah.
It's like
Think about
I'm
this with every
reclaiming.
tattoo.
It's like I'm reclaiming the whole narrative. Like even people who maybe come to you and say, I have this really specific image that I'm wanting you to tattoo. This is what it is. So seeing that kind of from beginning to then that final, it's on their body, they've completed it. It really is just them reclaiming that whole narrative, even perhaps the pain associated with that experience and then getting the tattoo. So I love that. That was good. That was good.
Beautifully said.
It was. It was. So, Byanka, you mentioned earlier there's still kind of a lot of stigma, tattoo stigma, and there's also a lot of mental health stigma. And sometimes there's overlap in how people are judged based on even just visible things or things going on with them. I guess, do you guys see that changing within your space and conversations?
When somebody walks in through the door in the studio, I really don't think there's like that talk about stigma being there because the person just automatically feels comfortable to share with us what's going on with them. As a general, I think there is still stigma when it comes to mental health and like tattoos. That's very, very misunderstood for the longest time. Like I have suffered from like depression and anxiety for as long as I can remember, probably like since I was a teenager, maybe past that when I was a child, but I always remember being very anxious. And I didn't start taking medicine until like a couple years ago. And when I did, I was kind of like not beating myself up over it, but like I remember thinking like, why didn't I do it sooner? Because it helped so much. Like you're not supposed to take medicine for it because there's nothing wrong with you. It's just all in your head. Like it literally is in your head, but it's like all in your head, supposedly, right? It's like
no, for
just
sure.
wave it away. And so I think with tattoos it's the same thing. Like it's like it's looked upon as something like you do it because there's something wrong with you, or you're one of the bad people in the world that can't get their shit together or what have you, when in reality both the mental health aspect and like tattoos have been known to be around for centuries.
Well, I just don't know that like the industry is any different. If that's like the correct way to like interpret the question, like in our space, like because in our space, like Byanka said, like yeah, when you come here, like yes, like this is like an oasis,
right,
in a desert, like of maybe a lack of awareness and conscious intention towards like mental health and mental wellness.
We're like, oh, you have a mental health disorder? Join the club.
Yeah, right.
Welcome
Come on in.
home.
Yes.
We're expecting you, in fact.
One of us.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean,
but yeah.
yeah, no, that's really cool that y'all say that because, I mean, there have been times where I've been to a tattoo parlor and, like, it's this dark room and doesn't look super clean. And, like,
Right.
and there are a bunch of guys there, and it's like, you don't really find a lot of women in tattoo industry, honestly. So actually, I think you and one other person are the only two women that I've done out of, like, the several tattoos I have. Y'all are so much more welcoming than other places.
I will say on social media is where like you can see people saying things that are like
Right.
judgmental or, like in fact recently like I like commented somewhere that I was like, wow, I'm actually kind of surprised the fine line, category didn't just get like bullied like we usually do, and like there were other people responding like, yeah, that feels accurate or whatever. So like I think that's kind of where those interactions happen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
so our last episode, we chatted with a therapist, and we know a lot of people use tattooing as therapy, as we've already talked about. Like, they can be there
Yeah.
for a while and have some maybe even unexpected conversations that you're like, I literally just want to draw this. Like, this is a big. How do you navigate some of those conversations that you're like, are they looking for a response from me? Or do they want me to just sit there and do my stencil on their arm or their leg or wherever? How do you guys navigate that, if at all?
Luckily, that's how I navigate every conversation.
I
No,
will
but
say
like also like I'm confused the whole time. I'm having a social interaction. I don't know what to do next.
But like, I feel like Carly has a lot of, like, I feel like Carly's sessions will go a little bit longer than mine because Carly's very good at listening and empathizing with people and sharing similar experiences that the person just feels so comfortable with them that
Yeah.
the conversation just keeps going.
Yeah.
And I love that about Curly. Like, for me, I don't think I've ever experienced where I'm like, I don't know what I should say. I don't judge people for like wanting to open up, especially when we're in such a close, like in such close proximity to each other. And we are literally in such a vulnerable position, like myself as the tattoo artist, you as the client. Like, I'm in your space and you're in mine. And so you have no choice but to spill the beans on whatever it is that you need to get off your chest. So for me, I'm just like, what do you need from me? This is your session and we'll be good. Like, if you want me to talk with you, have a conversation with you, great. If you don't want me to talk, great. If you need a break, great. If you need whatever it is. So I'm just basically there to be whatever you need during the allotted time that we have.
right.
Yeah.
Just like therapy.
Just like therapy.
No, it totally does make sense.
No, that's super cool because as you guys are talking, it's like, it's also, because we talk about affirming care and affirming people's feelings and what they're experiencing. You guys talked a lot about, how that people may choose, things to express themselves or maybe things that they're going through, that could also be a form of gender affirmation with certain tattoos.
I firmly agree. I feel like the more tattoos I get, like the more like comfortable in my skin in general, I feel. And so like as a result, I become more comfortable in or aware of or sympathetic to like my gender identity. Does that make sense? Like there's absolutely some kind of correlation for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, even when I was getting our tattoos, just like, because we got the Cheers Queers, Maddie and I had several discussions on how that would impact us or, having conversations and even in our professional lives. And, I was sitting there and I was like, you know what? Like, this is who I am. This is who I am. This is a part of my life. It's so important to me. It's important to Maddie, and we're just like, we're doing it. We're going to do it. And so, I was just so glad to experience that all of it, all together and, having us do that in a safe space just made it all the better.
Yes,
I love that.
absolutely. There were lots of discussions about whether or not we wanted to take the plunge on getting the Cheers Queers in a visible spot. That was
Yeah.
really, we knew we wanted to get it. It was really a matter of, do we want it to be in a visible spot? And it kind of came down
Yeah.
just like what Meaghan was saying, like, this is who we are. And like, who gives a fuck?
Who gives a hoot?
Really.
But, and this also came up in our session where, you know, we do sometimes have to think about our workplaces. Do you guys have those conversations come up besides with Meaghan and me? Do you guys have those conversations come up while you're trying to help your clients maybe figure out the right kind of placement
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
because they're worried about the
Absolutely.
professional side of it?
Yeah. They'll
Yeah.
often come in saying like, I want this, but I have to adhere to this paradigm or whatever. They'll, you know,
Yeah, I'll constantly have people that are like, can we do it where it's not showing? So typically people will do things, you know, like midsection, like torso,
Mhm.
inside arms, where sleeves can cover. And so
Mhm.
we're definitely open to like discuss that during the session. And unfortunately, yes, we still live in a society where tattoos are frowned upon and not seen as professional. And that sucks. And for me, I know that's another big reason why I didn't like when I got the tattoos that I did was because they were covered. And so yeah, it's just a shame because historically speaking, they are a way to express
Right.
who you are culturally, right?
Yeah.
And I think here in the United States, this is probably the only place where it's like seen as something that's like unprofessional. And when you see a whole bunch of cultures have these beautiful tattoos to represent who they are and represent their family and represent their ancestors, and it's such a
Yeah.
beautiful thing.
Yeah. Yeah. What comes to mind is that colonizers colonized themselves first. And so there's actually like so much room for pain. And I think this is like why they're like affecting the like education, like what's being taught to children about like what this country did. You know what I mean? So there's this like quotient for pain once you realize everything, not only that you've stolen, that you lost, everything that was given up willfully. So I'm Hungarian, a descendant of Hungarian immigrants, and they came here, to my knowledge, like within the last 100 to 150 years. So pretty recent immigration. They did not teach my parents' generation. My mom and my dad both just happened to both be Hungarian, and their parents kind of both did the same thing. They didn't know each other at all. They didn't teach them the language because they wanted to like keep secrets and like talk and like have their own like little adult language. I am so very resentful to like my ancestors for robbing me of the language. And so tattoos is like sort of just like a little piece of that, you know, like giving away this sanitizing, this salting, you know, this like dehumanizing, you know, like deculturalification of so many communities that like are probably innumerable. You know, like it makes me absolutely sick to think.
No, it's true. And I have I have a shared experience in that as well, you know, talking about, you know, being a second gen and not learning, you know, part of your culture, and you feel
Yeah.
so like it's stolen from you. You know, it's something that's been stolen from you, and that's something you can never change and go back and fix, right? So
Yeah.
it is traumatizing. But I
Yeah.
mean, I definitely hear what you're saying is like, you know, having the option and the ability to get tattoos that define who you are, and them saying, well, that's not appropriate, is saying that, well, whatever you put on your body is not valuable. You're not valuable. We want what's valuable is fitting into this
Yes.
like this puzzle, you know, and or fitting into whatever blank white sheet they want you to be on. So no, I definitely hear you on that.
What a great, like, full circle moment, because all of this, you know, we've kind of been talking about tattooing helps people sometimes find their true selves. And express their identity of who they are. And so their connection to their culture, their connection to their race, to their ethnic background, to their religion, to whatever it is, shows up through tattooing. And then everything that you just said, it's like, well, no, we don't like that tattoo because it's different, is exactly what they're telling us as queer individuals of, oh no, trans people don't exist. Well, I'm sorry, but they do. You erasing trans flag on someone's body does not negate their identity as a trans person. And so it was just an interesting, really full circle moment, Carly, of you sharing your connection to your roots, but then also how we've been saying, like, basically, y'all get more tattoos so that you can express your true self and your identity.
At TrueSelf Inc.
And also, it might be a healing moment for you as you get that tattoo. So that brings us, I think, to the big thing we're excited about, this collaboration, where you guys created such wonderful designs when we approached you about this. But what does this collaboration, I guess, mean to you, or what made it meaningful to you guys as artists? Byanka, maybe as a studio owner, what made it meaningful to you?
So for me, when I came up with my business, it was very important that I built community. That was like top of mind. I didn't want it to be just a business where it was transactional and like you pay me for a service, I give you a service, and then that's it. I've always been of the mindset that, especially with things going on right now, the last few years, that we need each other now more than ever. And so I believe that the success of my studio is not going to it's not going to come to fruition if I try to do it all on my own. So for me, I wanted to always collaborate with people that have same morals and values. And I always wanted to collaborate with somebody that was also on the journey of growing. And so Maddie and Meaghan, when y'all came to me with this idea, I was like, yes, it's happening. We're
Building community.
It's happening. So yeah, like that's essentially, to me, that's why it's so meaningful is I get to build connections with y'all and the people that will be listening to this and will, reach out because of this. And you'll get followers, we'll get clients, you'll get listeners, and it'll be just a growing community of like-minded people. So yeah, I mean, I'm so excited for that.
I know. Yeah. We are too.
I fully agree. I fully agree with you, Byanka. Like everything you said, yes. And how important the like that we need each other thing is. That is like it's so real. It's like real. Like it's like groceries real, it's doctor's appointments real, it's like babysitting real, pet sitting real. Like
Yeah.
we need to be here for each other, and I believe in that so much.
I love that.
That is exactly what we're trying to do here. That's why we built this podcast. We want to make friends. We are not alone in this coffee break, right? I think it was so cool to have y'all join in. And first off, now Not a Lonely Coffee breakers can get a tattoo and support amazing things and support an amazing business and know that they can walk in the door and talk about queer things and maybe like be nervous and know that I can be quiet and it's not a big deal. Like I don't have to say anything in this whole session and they're not going to judge me, and having the ability to know that there are people out there, there are tattoo artists out there wanting to make you feel comfortable and be a community.
Yeah. Yeah. And not like accidentally made that you accidentally were comfortable while you were in my chair. It's like so important that you feel good when you come in and when you leave.
So listeners, the flash designs are up and live for you to check out all the options that are available. They are so fantastic. Byanka and Carly just did such great work in putting together a really great design option for If you're wanting something to highlight perhaps a mental health journey or just support people going through mental health journeys, you can choose the one that fits best for you. A portion of the proceeds are going to a great organization, Hope Store New Beginning Center. We'll be highlighting them a little bit later on in the month of May, so you can learn more about them. So even if you just want to support Hope Store and get yourself a little tattoo, go visit TrueSelf Inc. and get a tattoo from Carly or Byanka.
And we'll have the link to get your appointment in our link tree. So you can go to our bio, click the link there. You can also visit TrueSelf Inc. Instagram, and they also have the sign-up sheet on their bio as well.
Okay. Thank you guys so much for a great conversation today and chatting with us and collaborating with us. And we are so excited to get started. Y'all are awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you
You're welcome.
for having
Thank you for
us.
having us.
Yay!
Oh my gosh, so much fun, Meaghan. I loved that conversation. I loved hearing their perspective, just as our collaborators in this, but also as tattoo artists who they meet a lot of people.
Yeah.
And interact with a lot of people. So it was just a really fun conversation.
Yeah, it was really cool to kind of get the behind the scenes, kind of get their take on tattoos. We've gotten tattoos in the past, but I personally don't know any tattoo artists. So I'm just glad that we have some new friends that we could add in that do tattoos. So now.
And I mean, we do want to get our friends tattooed.
Yeah, that too.
Visit our other friends at TrueSelf Inc. Get you some tattoos. Tag us in social media so that way we can celebrate with you. But unfortunately for today, I am all out of coffee.
Me too.
So that is our cue to wrap up. But thank you all for joining us today. We have a lot going on in the month of May, so make sure that you are subscribed so that you are up to date with our latest episodes.
Be sure you stay connected with us on our socials and continue the conversation. We love to hear your questions or what you're experiencing navigating the workplace.
Absolutely. We love social media, you guys. You can find us on LinkedIn, Instagram, Threads, Patreon, and of course, be sure to check out the show on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple. We hope, of course, that you will continue listening to A Lonely Coffee Break. Again, we are your hosts. I'm Maddie.
And I'm Meaghan. Cheers.
Cheers, queer.